Welcome to the deep dive. Just take a second, maybe look around you, or even think about the clothes you've got on right now. How often do we really stop and, well, consider the story behind the fabric? The hands that made it, or maybe the moments it represents in our lives. Birthdays, weddings, ceremonies.
It's a really good point. We're surrounded by textiles, use them constantly, but we often just glance past the stories woven in, don't we? The human touch.
Yeah.
Every piece of cloth, really, it has a narrative.
That's a great way to put it, a narrative. And today we're actually going to follow one specific thread through a really quite moving short poem by Sarojini Naidu. It's called Indian Weavers. Now, on the surface, it looks pretty straightforward, but it really seems to unpack something deeper, doesn't it? This link between, say, making something, the stages of life, and, well, the whole legacy of traditional crafts.
Oh, absolutely. So our mission today, if you like, is to explore that rich symbolism Naidu weaves in so beautifully. And also to learn a bit more about Sarojini Naidu herself. She was quite incredible in her impact. And then maybe reflect on what weavers and their craft mean, historically with figures like Gandhi, but also right now, today.
Okay. And we're grounding this whole discussion in a foundational text that really explores this poem in depth, looking at its structure, the life behind it, and those bigger themes. So yeah, let's get started.
Let's do it. The poem, it's short, just 3 stanzas. But the clever part is how simple it feels. It has this very regular rhyme and rhythm, almost like an old folk song or ballad, which makes its message, which is actually quite deep, feel very accessible. And the core of it is this dialogue, right? The poet asking the weavers questions at 3 specific times of day.
3 times a day.
Yeah. And each time what they're weaving, it's a direct metaphor for a stage of life. Birth, adulthood, death.
Okay, so where does she begin this whole metaphor? What's the first image we get?
She starts right at the beginning. Break of day. The poem asks, weavers, weaving at break of day, why do you weave a garment so gay? And the answer comes back straight away. It's very vivid. Blue is the wing of a halcyon wild. We weave the robes of a newborn child.
Halcyon wild. That's a lovely image.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
And what's really insightful here, I think, is how Naidu uses not just the fabric and the color, but the act of weaving itself. The way threads interlock step by step. It mirrors how our lives are built, doesn't it?
Yeah.
One moment, one experience, one thread after another, making this complex pattern we can't undo.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that gay blue color, like the bird, it just screams hope, new life, potential, like the dawn itself.
That specific bird, the halcyon, often linked with peace, calm. Yeah, that fits perfectly for a new beginning. But life, well, it changes color, doesn't it? What's the next stage she looks at?
So we move from dawn, this quiet start, to the fall of night. But it's not depicted as an ending here. It's more like a time of intense activity, maybe celebration. The question is, weavers weaving at fall of night, why do you weave a garment so bright?
Okay, so bright now, not just gay.
Exactly. And the answer, like the plumes of a peacock, purple and green, we weave the marriage veils of a queen.
Wow, peacock blooms, purple and green, very different.
Totally different. So if you think about the life arc, this fall of night seems to represent that vibrant peak youth, adulthood, big life events like marriage. The colors are bright like those peacock feathers. It suggests celebration, joy, maybe even a kind of richness or royalty, the prime of life perhaps.
That peacock imagery is so strong, but it is fall of night, not, say, midday sun. Is there maybe a hint there? Something about, life being vibrant, but also time moving on.
That's a really sharp observation. Yeah, while it feels very celebratory, choosing fall of night could subtly suggest that even in these peak moments, life keeps progressing. It acknowledges time passing without necessarily making it gloomy. Adds a bit of depth, I think.
Okay, and then inevitably, the poem has to take us to the end of the day, the end of life's journey. That third stanza feels like a big shift, right?
A huge shift, profoundly different tone. Weavers, weaving, solemn and still. What do you weave in the moonlight chill?
Solemn and still, moonlight chill.
Yeah, that's different.
And the answer is just so stark, so powerful. White as a feather and white as a cloud, we weave a dead man's funeral shroud.
Oof, yeah.
The whole mood changes, that moonlight chill, the weavers being solemn and still. It reflects that quiet dignity, the finality of death, and the color, white. It can mean purity, of course, but here it feels more somber, maybe ethereal. It's a peaceful end of the cycle. It's a really brave, honest way to show the full picture. That last stanza really does land differently. That contrast is so sharp. What do you think that tells us about how Naidu saw life? The whole arc, the joy, and the end.
I think it suggests a deep acceptance, actually. She doesn't hide from death or sugarcoat it. She presents it as just another part of the whole cycle, just as natural in its own way as birth or marriage. And the weavers, they just keep weaving. They don't change. They're the constant thread through it all, embodying that continuity.
The poem itself, just those few lines, carries so much weight. But it gets even richer when you think about the person who wrote it, Sarojini Naidu. She was quite a figure, wasn't she?
Oh, absolutely. Sarojini Naidu, born back in 1879. She was way more than just a poet. I mean, she was a powerful political activist, a really strong feminist voice, and just central to India's fight for independence.
The Nightingale of India, they called her?
That's right, because of her eloquence, her passionate speeches. And think about this. She was the first Indian woman to be president of the Indian National Congress. It was massive for the time, truly groundbreaking.
And her work didn't stop once independence was achieved, did it?
Not at all. After 1947, she kept breaking ground. She became the first woman governor of a state in independent India, the governor of the United Provinces, as it was then called. She really lived through and shaped huge changes, advocating for social reforms, women's rights, alongside the political struggle. Her own life kind of mirrors the poem, moving through different impactful phases tied to her country's story.
And thinking about the weavers in her poem, it makes you consider not just the cloth, but the skill, the people, the whole cultural and economic weight of that craft, which brings someone like Mahatma Gandhi to mind.
Exactly. That's a direct link. Gandhi strongly advocated for spinning khadi, that hand-spun, hand-woven cloth, often made using a charkha, the spinning wheel.
Yeah.
And a big reason for that was empowerment. It was about giving rural communities a way to earn a living, fostering economic independence from colonial rule. So yeah, the simple act of weaving got tied up with national identity, with independence, with dignity itself.
It's this craft, using tools like looms, yarns like cotton or silk,
Yeah.
creating things that, as the poem shows, literally mark the milestones of our lives. It really drives home that weaving isn't just making stuff. It's an art that stays with us, birth to death, a constant thread.
It really does go beyond just function, doesn't it? It becomes this symbol for the human journey. And importantly, it's a living legacy. It's not just history.
That feels crucial. These skills, these traditions, they're still here, still relevant. For many, it's still their livelihood. It's a way of expressing cultural identity. And maybe even a quiet kind of pushback against mass-produced fast fashion.
Yeah, definitely.
It connects us to a time when making things was maybe more deliberate, more meaningful, which feels quite poignant now in our super fast world.
Totally. And think about specific examples like the Mahavastra of Maharashtra, the Pathani sari. These aren't just pieces of clothing. They often have incredibly intricate designs, vibrant colors, maybe real gold or silver threads woven in. They are statements of artistry, of heritage. People pass them down through generations.
They're cherished, not just worn.
Exactly. Cherished heirlooms.
So as we kind of draw this deep dive to a close, let's just quickly look back. We've traced how Sarojini Naidu in Indian Weavers uses this simple, elegant metaphor of weaving to capture the whole sweep of human life.
Yeah, from the break of day, that hopeful blue for a baby,
Right.
to the fall of night, the bright purple and green from marriage, that peak of adulthood, and then finishing in the moonlight chill with that solemn, still, white shroud for the end of life. The colors, the moods, they just map it all out so powerfully. It feels universal.
And the poem, it also serves as this reminder of the artisans themselves, their enduring importance. People like Naidu, through her work and her activism, really highlighted these traditional crafts. She showed their value, not just culturally, but economically, too. And the fact that things like that Pathani sari still exist, are still made with such skill, really speaks to that lasting artistry.
It really does. It underlines that idea that true craftsmanship is about more than just the object. It's about carrying forward a legacy, telling a story across time.
Which brings us to a final thought, maybe something provocative for you, our listener. When we think about these weavers and the stories they create in thread, maybe take a moment to consider the hidden patterns in your own life. Think about how creativity, how maybe just intentional effort like the weaver's art is constantly stitching together your past, your present, and what's coming next. So the question we leave you with is, what unseen threads, what designs are connecting the moments of your life right now, and what kind of story are they weaving for tomorrow?
That's a beautiful question to sit with. Really makes you think.